Morning count happened at 6 a.m. sharp. Everyone knew the drill. Stand at your cell door. Wait for guards to walk past. Don't move. Don't talk. Let them count you. Simple. But on Mike Tyson's 47th day, count was different. At 5:58 a.m., before the guards started their walk, Hector Ruiz appeared outside Mike's cell. Alone. No crew. No backup. Just him. Morning, champ, Hector said quietly. Mike was already standing at the door, ready for count. He looked at Hector, then down the corridor. Guards were at the far end, starting their count from the other direction. They get to this section in about 3 minutes. What do you want? Mike asked. Want to see if the rumors are true. Hector stepped closer to the bars, close enough that Mike could smell coffee on his breath. Heard you've been training. Push-ups, pull-ups, shadow boxing, staying ready. So I'm wondering what you're staying ready for. Hector's voice was calm, conversational. Because if you're planning something, I need to know. If you're thinking about making a move, about challenging the structure, about proving you're still Iron Mike, I need to know that too. Mike heard the guards getting closer. 2 minutes away. I'm not planning anything, Mike said. Just doing my time. See, I want to believe that. Hector nodded slowly. But you got a reputation. You got pride. You got hands that made you millions. And I'm wondering if those hands are getting restless. The guards were 1 minute away now. Mike could hear their boots on concrete. So let's test it, Hector said. He reached between the bars, extended his hand, open, offering a handshake. Right here, right now. You shake my hand, you acknowledge that I run D-block. You acknowledge the hierarchy. You show respect. Mike looked at the hand. Or, Hector continued, you don't shake it. You disrespect me in front of the whole block. And we settle this the hard way. Your choice. The guard were 30 seconds away. Mike heard them counting cells. Getting closer, Hector's hand stayed extended. And 200 men in D-block were watching through their bars to see what Mike Tyson would do. Mike stared at Hector's hand like it was a snake, because that's what it was. A trap dressed up as respect. Shake it, and he'd be bowing to the hierarchy. Admitting that in here, Mike Tyson was nothing. Just another inmate. Just another number. But don't shake it, and he'd be declaring war. Against Hector. Against the South Side crew. Against the entire power structure that kept D-block running. The guards were 20 seconds away. Clock's ticking, champ, Hector said softly. Mike's cellmate Raymond stirred on the top bunk behind him. The old man had been pretending to sleep. But Mike knew he was listening. Probably had been awake since Hector appeared. You really want to do this? Mike asked quietly. I really want an answer. Hector's hand didn't move. Didn't shake. Steady as stone. Because right now, everyone in D-block is confused. They see Mike Tyson. They see the legend. They see the man who knocked out champions. But they also see someone who's been here 6 weeks and hasn't declared himself. Declared myself. You're either with the structure or against it. There's no neutral in here. Hector's eyes were flat. Empty. So what's it going to be? The guards were 10 seconds away. Mike felt his pulse in his temples. Steady. Controlled. The way Cuz taught him. Power isn't in the punch. It's in the moment before the punch. The space where anything's possible. He reached forward, took Hector's hand, and squeezed. Not a handshake. A grip. The kind that sends a message. The kind that says I could break every bone in your hand if I wanted. Hector's face didn't change. But Mike saw it. The slight widening of his eyes. The recognition. The understanding that Mike Tyson might be an inmate, but his hands still remembered what they were built for. Mike held the grip for 3 seconds. Long enough to make it clear. Then he let go. Morning count. The guard's voice echoed down the corridor. Everyone at your doors. Hector stepped back. Smiled. Good choice, champ. Real good choice. He walked away just as the guards turned the corner. They counted Mike. Moved on to the next cell. Never knew anything happened, but everyone else did. Mike could feel it. The shift. The attention. 200 men processing what they just witnessed. Trying to figure out what it meant. Behind him, Raymond finally spoke. You just made this harder on yourself, the old man said quietly. Mike turned around. Raymond was sitting up now, looking at him with those eyes that had seen everything twice. What was I supposed to do? Mike asked. What you did. Raymond climbed down from his bunk slowly. Old bones. But now Hector knows something. Something dangerous. What? "Bet you're not broken yet." Raymond walked to the sink, started washing his face. "And men like Hector don't stop until you are." Breakfast was at 7:00 a.m. Mike moved through the line with his tray. Eggs, toast, coffee that tasted like burnt water. He found an empty table in the corner, sat with his back to the wall the way Raymond taught him. Hector was 3 tables over, surrounded by his crew. 6 men, all of them dangerous, all of them loyal. They were laughing about something, loud, performing, making sure everyone knew they owned the room. Mike ate his eggs, didn't look over, didn't engage, but he felt them watching. 10 minutes into breakfast, one of Hector's crew walked past Mike's table, bumped it, hard. Mike's coffee spilled, across the tray, onto his jumpsuit. Burning through the fabric. Mike didn't move, just kept eating his toast, pretended it didn't happen. The man stopped, looked down at Mike. "You gonna say something?" Mike chewed, swallowed. "It was an accident." "Was it?" The man smiled. "My bad then. Here, let me help clean it up." He reached for Mike's tray, and Mike's hand shot out. Fast, grabbed the man's wrist. Not hard enough to hurt, just hard enough to stop. The cafeteria went quiet. Every conversation stopped. Every fork frozen. 200 men watching to see what happened next. Mike looked up at the man, met his eyes. "I got it." The man tried to pull his wrist free. Couldn't. Mike's grip was iron. "Let go," the man said. Mike held it for 3 more seconds, making a point, then released. The man stepped back, rubbing his wrist, looking over at Hector's table. Hector was watching, not smiling anymore, just calculating. He stood up, walked over to Mike's table. His crew followed. They surrounded Mike. 6 men standing. Mike sitting. The guard along the wall noticed, but didn't move, because technically nothing was happening yet. "Problem here?" Hector asked. "No problem," Mike said. "Just a spill. My boy says you grabbed him. He was trying to take my tray. I stopped him." Hector looked at Mike's tray. Coffee soaking into toast. Eggs getting cold. "That what happened?" he asked his crew member. The man nodded. "He put hands on me." "Interesting." Hector sat down across from Mike. "Uninvited. Unwanted. See, in here, when someone puts hands on one of mine, that's a problem. That's disrespect. That requires a response." Mike set down his fork. "He spilled my coffee. Tried to take my food. I stopped him. That's not disrespect. That's self-preservation. Depends on perspective." Hector leaned back, relaxed, comfortable. "My perspective says you're testing boundaries. Says you're seeing how far you can push before I push back. I'm not pushing anything. I'm eating breakfast. You grab one of my people. After he grabbed my property." They stared at each other across 2 feet of table. The cafeteria was still silent. Guards were talking into their radios now. Backup was probably coming, but not fast enough. "Tell you what," Hector said. "Let's settle this the right way. The way men settle things in here. How's that? Tonight. Yard time. You and me. No crew. No backup. Just 2 men having a conversation about respect." Hector's voice was calm, almost friendly. "We talk it out, man to man. See if we can come to an understanding." Mike knew what that meant. Conversation was code. Understanding meant someone was going to get hurt. "And if I don't want to have this conversation?" Mike asked. "Then the conversation happens anyway, just without your consent." Hector stood up. "Your choice, champ. But one way or another, we're talking tonight." He walked away. His crew followed. The cafeteria slowly came back to life. Conversations resumed. Forks moved. But everyone was talking about the same thing. Mike Tyson versus Hector Ruiz. Tonight. Raymond found Mike in the library that afternoon. The old man sat down across from him without asking. Just pulled out a chair and settled in like they'd planned to meet. "You're not going," Raymond said. "Not a question. A statement." "He challenged me in front of everyone," Mike said. "I don't show, I look weak. You show, you look stupid." Raymond leaned forward. "This ain't about strength. It's about strategy. Hector's been here 12 years. He knows every blind spot, every camera angle, every guard rotation. He's choosing the time and place for a reason. So what do I do? Hi, you survive." Raymond's voice was firm. "You tell a guard. You report the threat. You let the system handle it." Mike almost laughed. "The system? The system that watched him threaten me this morning and did nothing? The system that's keeping you alive?" Raymond pulled out a piece of paper. Folded. Worn. He slid it across the table. This is a request form. Medical evaluation. You fill out, claim chest pains. They take you to the infirmary. You stay there overnight. By tomorrow, this blows over. Mike stared at the paper. You want me to fake sick? I want you to be smart. 'Cause taught me never to run from a fight. 'Cause ain't here. Raymond's voice rose. Then he caught himself. Lowered it. And the lessons that made you a champion will get you killed in here. This ain't the ring. There's no referee. No rules. Just Hector and whatever he's planning. Mike pushed the paper back. I'm going. Raymond closed his eyes. Shook his head. Then you're a fool. Maybe. Mike stood up. But I'm a fool who can still look at himself in the mirror. He walked out of the library, left Raymond sitting there, holding a piece of paper that could have saved his life. Yard time was at 6:00 p.m. The sky was gray. October in Indiana. Cold wind cutting across the concrete. 200 men in jumpsuits, trying to stay warm, trying to stay busy, trying to pretend they weren't all waiting for the same thing. Mike walked out into the yard at 6:03. Hector was already there, standing by the south fence. Alone, just like he promised. No crew. No backup. Just him. But Mike wasn't stupid. He scanned the yard, saw Hector's people scattered, near the basketball court, by the weight pile, at the entrance, positioned, ready. The guard in the tower were watching. Mike could see them, binoculars out, radios ready, but they were 60 feet away, behind bulletproof glass. Safe. Mike walked toward Hector. Slow, steady, every step measured. The yard went quiet. Basketball game stopped. Weights got set down. Conversations died. Everyone formed a loose circle. Not too close, just close enough to see. Mike stopped 10 feet from Hector. You came, Hector said. You called. Respect. Hector nodded. Most famous people, they hide. They get scared. They let the guards protect them. But you showed up. That means something. What does it mean? Means you're either brave or stupid. I'm about to find out which. Hector stepped closer. 5 feet now, within striking distance. Mike's body tensed. Muscle memory. Fight response. 'Cause training kicking in, distance is safety. Control the range. See the punch before it comes. Here's the situation, Hector said. You embarrassed one of my people this morning. In front of the whole block. That can't stand. So now you owe me. Owe you what? A choice. Hector's eyes were flat. Dead. Choice 1. You apologize. Right here, in front of everyone. You say you were wrong. You shake my hand again. And this time you mean it. And choice 2. You don't apologize. And we settle this the old way. Mike looked around the yard. At the 200 men watching. At the guards in the tower. At Hector's crew positioned at every exit. This was a setup. Always had been. If Mike apologized, he'd be humiliated. Broken. Every inmate in D Block would know that Mike Tyson bowed to Hector Ruiz. But if he fought, he'd be outnumbered. Hector's crew would jump in. Guards would respond too slow. And Mike would end up in the infirmary. Or the morgue. Either way, Hector won. Unless I got a third choice, Mike said quietly. Hector raised an eyebrow. Oh yeah? What's that? I walk away. Walk away. Hector smiled. That's not a choice. That's surrender. Call it whatever you want. Mike took a step back. I'm not apologizing. And I'm not fighting. I'm doing my time. You got a problem with that? Take it up with the warden. He turned around, started walking toward the building. The yard erupted. Men shouting, laughing, calling him coward, calling him weak, calling him everything he'd spent his whole life proving he wasn't. Mike kept walking. Behind him, Hector's voice cut through the noise. You walk away now. Everyone's going to know you're scared. Mike stopped, turned around. You're right, he said loud enough for everyone to hear. I am scared. Scared of adding years to my sentence. Scared of giving you what you want. Scared of proving I'm still the same man who lost everything because he couldn't control his hands. The yard went quiet. So yeah, I'm walking away. Mike's voice was steady. Calm. Not because I can't fight you, but because I won't. There's a difference. He turned back around and walked into the building. Behind him, the yard stayed silent. Nobody laughed. Nobody called him weak, because they all understood something in that moment. Walking away from Mike Tyson's hardest fight took more courage than staying. That night, Raymond spoke from the top bunk. You surprised me today. How? I thought you'd fight. Thought you'd let your pride make you stupid. Raymond was quiet for a moment. But you did something harder. You walked away. Mike stared at the ceiling. Doesn't feel like I won. Because winning in here don't feel like winning outside. It feels like losing in slow motion. Raymond shifted on his bunk. But you're still breathing. You're still sane. You're still the man Cuz trained. Just a different version. What version is that? The one who survives. Mike closed his eyes. Thought about the yard. About Hector's face when he walked away. About the silence that followed. You think Hector's done with me? Mike asked. No. Raymond's voice was honest. But you changed the game. You didn't play by his rules. And that's dangerous for him. Because if Mike Tyson can walk away, maybe others can too. Mike thought about that. About power. About respect. About what it meant to be strong when strength looked like weakness. Raymond, yeah, thanks for trying to save me. The old man was quiet for a long time. Someone saved me once, he finally said. Long time ago, before I killed that man, before I threw away my life. Someone tried to teach me the same lesson you learned today. What lesson? That the hardest punch to throw is the one you don't. Mike absorbed those words. Let them settle. Outside, D-Block was quiet. 200 men sleeping, dreaming, surviving. And somewhere in that building, Hector Ruiz was planning his next move. But so was Mike Tyson, not with his fists, but with something Cuz had tried to teach him 20 years ago. Discipline, the kind that looked like cowardice but felt like freedom. And for the first time since entering this place, Mike thought he might actually understand what that meant.